morning, everyone. Again, this is Mark Cabrera here. I'd like to talk to you guys about know when you need a coach. And losing business relationship is not something that we want as much as possible. There are some clients there, if you don't like them, refer them to an agent you don't like as well. Then the agent that you don't like might actually get to like you. You see? And then the client that you don't like them to begin with is no longer your problem. You see what I'm saying? And you make money. Wow, this is like a win-win-win situation. You understand? Win-win? No, this is win-win-win. So the reality of it, you're not going to get along with everybody. But I'm sure the more you improve yourself in terms of personal development, like you showing up to this stuff, the better you become as a person. And the better you become as a person, the easier you are with people. See, I don't know if you ever met some people that actually like drain your energy. It's like so the minute that you see them like in the hallway, like, hey, and you have to go the other way because like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get drained, you know? I really love my energy. I'm so excited. But then when you start talking to this person starts telling you all their problems and then next thing you know, you're like almost in tears, crying and depressed, and you feel like, oh my gosh, let me take the rest of the day off. I mean, you don't need this kind of people, right? But sometimes you come across those people as a client and you still have to deal with them, right? It's okay. But if you've learned how to deal with people that are like that, see, there's the difference, right? I had a client one time that showed up in my office. The agent who was doing the front desk for me and the loan officer who was doing the loan, both of them quit because of this one client. And it's true story because they couldn't figure out. I mean, the guy, one of them was calling the person racist. The other person actually was calling him those nasty A word, because he was just nasty, right? But when he started talking to me like that, though, there's a big difference, right? I knew exactly how he is and how he interacts. So I looked at him like a 7-year-old child who's been neglected all his life, right? And started looking at him like, okay, and then start talking to him like a 7-year-old child. Like when he says something I don't like, hey, I don't like that. Don't say that again. Like a father would to a child, right? The minute I start talking to him like this, our relationship to this day is like a father and a son. I'm telling you. The guy bought a $1.3 million house with me. The guy actually, every time he does something in his house, he calls me, hey, Mark, what do you think? You think I should do this or should I not do this? Should I fix this? Asking my opinion to this day, sending me pictures like, oh, look at this, what I did. Dad, no, he didn't say dad, but he might as well have said dad because that's exactly how our interaction is. So I've learned that there are people out there. There's 4 types of archetypes of men. And I've read that book several times. Actually, I do more audiobook than reading. And what I got out of that is that if you understand where that particular person is coming from, you know exactly how to speak to them. And that in turn, in that communication that you do with them, gives you an edge because you position yourself to be the authority. See, if your client is the authority in real estate, you'll never sell them a house because you are being looked at as a commodity. And if a person looks at you as a commodity and they still, after you actually talk to them a certain way, they still look at you as a commodity, you're wasting your time. I mean, I had to actually literally not tell off a client the other day, but I literally actually had to tell him that I'm not desperate for your business. But I thought we had a close friendship, and I guess our friendship is worth just the interest rate you're going after. Straightforward. Why? Because I know in the next 2 months, that guy's not going to be able to get a house. Because he's looking for something that's not realistic, and he treats people like the way he does. People are not going to stand for it, and eventually he's not going to get what he wants. He's going to rent somewhere for the next 6 months, a year, and probably with the way I spoke to him and the way I considered him as a friend and put it in that context, and the way he's coming back like a lost child, lost son and daughter, she's coming back around. That's basically what it is. But understanding the psychology makes a huge difference. So I do my own personal development constantly, even to this day. There's so many books out there about how to be a better person. And that's what I'm going after. I'm going after how to be a better person. Why? Because we don't sell houses. We sell ourselves. We go in between the sales transactions of people. I got up yesterday morning, and I was just telling the story. We got up this morning, I got a call from a friend who actually happened to text message and say, hey, you're invited to my daughter's birthday party kind of thing, 536 messages. He calls me up. It's like, hey, Mark, thank you for inviting me to your daughter's birthday party. I was like, yeah, of course. Come on, man. I mean, you're like my brother here, like 7:30 in the morning. Hey, I tell you what, I got a friend of mine who's looking to buy a house in Bethesda at $1 million. And the only thing that I need from you is to be able to write this in the next 2 hours. You think you might be able to do that? Sure, no problem. Let me go ahead and work on it. Text my sister, hey, we got a client. Start working on this thing so I can review it and send it, DocuSign it. Yeah. And this morning it ratified. Point I'm trying to make to you is that's from a relationship. That's from a text message that said, hey, I'm still here. I'm still thinking about you to this day, which I am because I included him on the list. Okay. And thirdly, it's the systems and processes I had set up. See, if I didn't have that system and processes, I'm just getting up at 7:30 in the morning. I'll be doing it myself, right? I can't be doing it myself. I stop to take care of my kids before, take them to school and everything. So by 9:30, 10 o'clock, I have everything in front of me, reviewing everything, making corrections, send it to the client, present it to the offer, and calling the agent. That's my job. My job is to make sure that things get done. Doesn't matter who does it. As long as I reviewed it, as long as I'm responsible, as long as my name is on that thing, I will make sure I review it and make sure it's good, right? So certain things you can delegate, like administrative. Certain things you cannot, which is negotiations, making sure the contract is correct because your name is on the line, right? Certain things you can't. But the point I'm trying to make to you is the more efficient you get with your time, the more money you make in this business because we all have 24 hours in a day, right? So if you can truncate your amount of time dealing with certain things, then you have more time for yourself to be able to do the things you want to do. So, is personal life getting in the way of your business? This is a lot. This is like a lot of people run into this. Put it this way. I had to actually get my personal life in the way of my business when I was going through my divorce because I didn't want to actually work for my ex-wife for the rest of my life. Be a personal slave there, So yes, personal life can get in the way of your business life. But the question is, are you doing that on purpose? Or are you wanting to make those changes? A coach can help you with that. Because the coach can point out what is personal and what is not. Because sometimes we can delineate. We're thinking, checking emails, oh, this is business. But 90% on your email are all personal if you think about it. And actually, more than half of them are junk to begin with, right? So there's the 4 quadrants that Stephen Covey actually brought up on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You got the important, the quadrant 1, important, urgent, right? It became urgent because it was important and you neglected it. The second quadrant is not urgent, but important. Those are the ones that need to be dealt with so it doesn't become urgent. And there's a quadrant 3 that's actually urgent, but not important. And the quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. Our focus should lie on quadrant 2, so we have less quadrant 1s. Quadrant 1s is what's happening because we are reacting to things. When we become proactive and we want to actually do something about it and we want to make things happen for ourselves, right? You plan it, then you execute your plan, and then everything else surrounds your plan to make things happen. And that's where you see success. Before that, everything is a reaction. Someone calls you, you react. Someone, want to meet with you, you react. Somebody actually hates you, you react. Everything is a reaction, right? But if everything is planned a lot more ahead of time, right? You have less urgent and important things that need to be dealt with. This is the difference between paying bills that are actually last minute and paying bills because you have an organized way of paying it, that you have planned it to make sure that you have enough budget on a monthly basis that you set aside to make sure that the bills get paid. See, that's the problem most people have. The reason why bills become urgent and important because they think they don't have the money for it. But in reality, they took a Disney vacation last month. They didn't put that in the planning process of the budget. and Mickey Mouse was the one who got their money, right? So now they actually have an urgent and important bill that they need to pay. They can't pay it because what? They bought a sports car. That's why instead. Or, they bought a second van when the one van is perfectly fine and just get a beat up car that doesn't have a monthly car payment, right? This is what I've learned over the years. I made so much money, but I've lost more money than I ever made. And a lot of agents run into the same problem. As a matter of fact, there's an observation that one of my friends came up to. He's like, I go to people's houses all the time, and I see real estate agents. They got big houses, but you can see how much stress they have in their lives because there's so much bills coming in because they thought they're going to be making the kind of money the whole time, and it doesn't happen that way, right? So that's the problem.